With me now in the studio, I have Izzat Abdulhadi, Ambassador of the State of Palestine. Thank you very much for your time. What's the latest advice you have on a very concerning situation for you and the people of Gaza?
Unfortunately, Mr. Netanyahu said that the assault of Gaza, the operation, continues with full force. And he rejected ceasefire from Hamas and ceasefire also from different interventions from international community, from United Nations and from Egypt. So the assault, unfortunately, is continuing. And we lost a lot of children. More than 60 children died now. Very lately, we have a 6-month a child that was found rescued from the rubble, and he lost his own brothers and his mother, so he's alone now. This is only one example of the tragedy and the sad situation in Gaza.
It is a tragedy. The Prime Minister of Israel says they are responding and defending themselves in the face of the rocket barrage from Hamas.
But we should put the events in context as an example. It was a response from Hamas, and it started in Jerusalem. This is one occupied territories in Palestine. So when Israelis stormed the worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is one of the holiest sites in Palestine for the Muslims in the last 10 days of Ramadan, and when there are a lot of families, tens of families, would be evicted from Sheikh Jarrah in Jerusalem, of course, there was a responsibility of Hamas to respond because they want also to protect their own citizens in Jerusalem. So Hamas' response was, they respond because of these events. So this is the context of the issues.
But the Israeli authorities say that this was a property dispute in Sheikh Jarrah that you referred to. Yeah. It's a legal dispute, a property dispute, that it should not have then seen rockets fired as Hamas did.
Yeah. Look, I mean, first of all, East Jerusalem is an occupied territory. I mean, this is recognized by Australia international community. East Jerusalem is an integral part of occupied territories in 1967. It was not a part of Israel in 1948 when Israel established. So to start, I mean, to set the record right, this is an occupied East Jerusalem. And as I mentioned, this is recognized internationally according to international law. And this is the root cause of the problem. Second, these families in Sheikh Jarrah have houses inside Israel. They are refugees from 1948. And it will be a good idea if Israel allow them to go back to Israel and also claim ownership of their own original houses in Israel. So these families lived in East Jerusalem for a long time, from 1948, because they are refugees, because of because they were expelled by the Israelis in 1948. So this is a complicated issue, and I don't think that we should go to this legal process, because otherwise 5 million Palestinians considered refugees by UNRWA should return back to their home in Israel.
And there's no prospect of that. Is there any prospect of seeing a ceasefire now? What's the key to a ceasefire to stop this bloodshed?
As I mentioned, I mean, Hamas offered ceasefire. They accepted the ceasefire. Egyptians also has an initiative. There is an open session in Security Council to stop the hostilities. But Mr. Netanyahu insisted that he will continue this operation until it's achieved its objectives, which is not declared objectives. We don't know, I mean, what he's going to do, actually. If he wants to kill more children and bombarding more media offices, towers, and also, I mean, bombarding the roads. So exactly, we don't know exactly what are his objectives. And unfortunately, the Americans also tried to talk to Netanyahu to stop this operation, but they also prevented any resolution in Security Council to solve this problem.
Do the Palestinian authorities in the West Bank support the Hamas military action?
I mean, we are unity now, all against, I mean, Israeli provocation in Jerusalem and assault in Gaza. So now Palestinians inside Israel, Palestinians in West Bank and East Jerusalem, and Palestinians in Gaza are one. And we are all against this aggression and assault of Palestinians in all these areas.
What should Australia do as part of the international community to try and bring about some resolution, some peace here?
Yeah, look, I mean, I used to say that we don't have any problem with Australia. Australia does not have any colonial history in the Middle East. We enjoyed very good relations with Australia. Australia provided good assistance to Palestinian people, and we have a representative office in Ramallah, which we maintain a good diplomatic relation with Australia. So Australia, I think, should join the international community and put pressure on Israel, actually, to cease all its own assault on Gaza. Australia should recognize immediately the state of Palestine, and Australia should also put pressure on Israel to accept international protection of the Palestinian people. So, and look, I mean, it's not my own views, but the Human Rights Watch reports, Amnesty reports, that Israel now is an apartheid system. And I think Australia should have more actions to respect international law and to associate with the human rights law, and not to object the Palestinian appeal to ICC, because this is the only way for us to bring Israel to be accountable. And let me also say something important. The root cause of the problem is the Israeli occupation. We need to end the Israeli occupation, and Israel should recognize the self-determination for Palestinian people in statehood. But Israel has we have only two options. Either we have the model of Algeria, France as an example, which is resulted, or the result was two independent states, which we claim, which we are advocate for two-state solution, Palestine and Israel lives peacefully together, or the South Africa model, which is one democratic state. Unfortunately, the right wing, far right wing in Israel rejected the two solutions, one state and two-state solution. We are left now with apartheid system, according to many human rights organizations, and Palestinians will not accept and fight against the apartheid system.
Izzat Abdulhadi, Ambassador of the State of Palestine, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
All the best to your people, a very difficult time.